In this video, we're going to talk about how to find the articles and books that your professor wants you to use for your Art 354 final term paper. I'm Dawn Emsalem, and if you have any questions after this presentation, you can find my email by Googling Dawn Salve Library. So what we're going to accomplish today is we're going to identify a search strategy for this assignment. We're going to look at some of the search tools I recommend for finding the books and articles you need to find, and we're going to talk about some efficiency tips for using those search tools. So your general idea of your assignment, and you should read your assignment carefully because there's a lot more than this, these are just excerpts, is that basically you're writing an 8 to 10 page research paper that's looking at one work of art through the lens of different theories or perspectives. They could be modernism or feminist theory or colonialism, but you're going to be analyzing the work of art through different lenses. And further, your professor is expecting you to use a minimum of 10 to 12 different sources, and they want the sources to be found in online databases and other institutional sources. This means you're probably looking for scholarly articles or articles in art criticism publications. In terms of our search strategy, the first and most important thing is to read and reread your assignment description because your professor has given some very clear guidance on what they want you to do. When you work on identifying your work of art, have a few in mind, and when you do your searches, choose one that has a lot of criticism about it because you want to make your job as easy as possible. Don't make it unnecessarily hard by using an obscure work of art. We're going to be looking at different search terms, and the search terms are pretty straightforward, really. Artist name, artwork name, the movement or theoretical lens that you're looking through, and there may be other words that scholars use to describe this lens, so keep an eye out for that in your search results. Look at the language scholars are using to describe your search. And then in the search tool, the process for the search strategy is an iterative research process. So you try different combinations of the artist name, artwork name, theoretical lens in different search tools, sort of again and again, iterating through the different search words and the search tools. And eventually you'll find what you need. The search tools we're going to be looking at are the library's book catalog, and that will find us ebooks and books. JSTOR, which will find us scholarly articles and book chapters. Google Scholar, which can help us find some articles. And then the library's article search, which is using our EBSCO host databases. So with that, let's jump right into going to the library's homepage, which you can get to by Googling Salve Library, and we can try a search. So the book search, I recommend you use very few words because our book catalog is only looking. So let's say if we're interested in Jeff Koons' Balloon Dog, we can try the artist and the work name and see what comes back. So we put that in there. Here's our catalog. And we got 6 results. That's not a lot, but let's see what it gave us. So we have a book here, and we have some videos, and here we have another book. This one says it's available at Salve, so if you're interested in it and you clicked on the title, you could see in the content note that there's an entire chapter about Balloon Dog. And so you might be interested in looking at that to see if this author is talking about your theoretical lens. So if you were interested in it, you could ask a librarian to go upstairs or library staff member to help you find this. Or you could click on Request from Salve and say that you submit it, and you'll get an email when it's on the shelf and you can pick it up at the circulation desk. Otherwise, if there was another book you wanted, such as, say you wanted this one, Versailles, if we clicked on that, we can see that it does talk about Balloon Dog. And if we wanted this, it's at one of our Helen partner libraries, which are other academic libraries that are local, and we have a delivery service from them. So if you click on Request from Helen, you can say that you want to pick it up. You're from Salve, and you want to pick it up at McKillop Library. And if you hit submit, then it will place your request for you and you'll get an email when it's in. And then the other option that you have is if you wanted to look for ebooks on the left-hand side here. It looks like this search doesn't have any ebooks available because they're not listed. But if we remove Balloon Dog and do a broader search just for Jeff Koons, which can be helpful, you'll see some more books come up and you could request them because they may talk about this artist in the lens of modernism or postmodernism or feminism, or one of the other lenses you may be looking at. But we could also click on ebook right here and it will show us the ebooks that are available for that have Jeff Koons in them. So this one is in German, so that's less helpful. This one we can take a look at. So we're going to click on view ebook. This is a ProQuest ebook, and we have lots of different vendors for ebooks, and the interfaces look different, but this is ProQuest. If we click on read online, we have a couple options to get to the Jeff Koons part of this book. Right here, we can scroll down and see if there's a whole chapter on him, which it looks like there is. And if we click on his name, it takes us to this section where the artist is actually speaking in the first person. So this could be useful if the artist talks about their influences. And then the other option you have is that you could you could type the name and search within the book. So we can see where it turns up. And right here, it's going to show you all the places where the artist's name shows up. And then, yeah, so that's basically ebooks. Let's go back again. And if we click on the articles tab, this is where we find our EBSCO host databases. So if we were looking, for example, for maybe Richard Serra's Tilted Arc, if we were looking for that artwork, we could do a search in EBSCO for that. And I'll take off this apostrophe S because that might mess things up. And we see here there are 268 results. So what we might do is add another search term such as feminism. Your professor has clarified that they don't want you to analyze works of art that are modernist through a modernist perspective or feminist through a feminist perspective. So this is maybe considered a modern or postmodern work of art. So you could try a different search word like feminism and do your search again. And that didn't work out so great. So let's look again at our search results and see if we want to try a different one. Maybe censorship would be good. So, and this is the iterative nature of research. And now we have 7 results. So if this one looks interesting, we can see that it's listed, but it doesn't say the full text. Like this one has the full text. If we click on it, we can look at the actual article. But if we click on this, EBSCO will go out and see if it's available in any other database. And it found it here. And so we can click on full text and get the full text. And this one should probably talk about censorship somewhere, as it came back that way. And if we're interested in getting the citation, if we click on, for example, the title right here, and we click on Cite, we can scroll down to the Chicago citation. This is where your professor wants you to use a notes bibliography, and you can copy and paste that. But definitely take a look at your professor's examples and ensure that this matches with their examples, because there are sometimes errors in these automatically generated citations. Anyway, as we go back to the library's homepage, we're still in the Articles tab. And if we click on JSTOR, for example, this is another database that I suggest. And perhaps we want to take a look at Carol Schneeman, her interior scroll book work, and I'm going to get rid of the apostrophe S again and see what comes back. So now we see that JSTOR has provided us with some images of the artwork, which is a performance piece. So these are stills. And then we see that there are 29 results. It's not a lot, but we can take a look here and see. If we click on Cite, we can get our Chicago citation. Again, double check to make sure it's okay. And if we click on Download, for an efficiency tip, we can do Control F. We can see that the author is Carolee Schneemann, so we know that she's written it. And I wonder if the author talks about feminism. And so you can see that feminist came back. And there's 4 results for the feminist search. So it may be that this artist's art is mostly feminist, and we may wonder if there's anything about modernism in here, which it looks like there isn't, or censorship. And it looks like it is talking about censorship. And so that may be a lens that we want to try out. So again, iterative. So we're trying different searches, and we're seeing what a body of work there is out there for our search, and we're seeing if we have enough to work with. And now we see there's 2 here, and we may decide that we want to take a look. This is a book chapter, and if we wanted to download that and see if the interior scroll work is in there, we could do a Control F or Option F if you're using, we are not sure if interior scroll as an artwork is discussed in this chapter, because there's only 1 result for scroll. So that's our basic search process. So we would probably take that off and then try some other of the options that your professor has given in the final paper instructions. And hopefully you'll be able to find stuff on that. Now, if we're going to try Google Scholar, you can Google Scholar. And if you click on it, you can do your search here. So let's say we're looking for Tilted Arc, the work by Richard Serra, and feminism. So we see here there's a book called The Tilted Arc Controversy, but Google isn't giving us access to the full text. So if we want to see if our library has it, we can copy and paste the title and go back to the library book search, clicking on the book tab, and we can see if we have that book. And it didn't come back, but sometimes I might have given it too many words, and now I removed the info after the colon, and it came back, and we could view the ebook if we wanted. So we can see that Google Scholar led us to that, so that was helpful. If we go back, we may also see that there are also books or articles from JSTOR, and then this is a book, an article in the Journal of Social Theory and Art Education, and it's in it's not on the JSTOR, it's somewhere else. So if we click on that, it will open the article, and we could do a Control or Option F for Sarah to see how much that came back. Was that our search in this one? Yes, it was Sarah, and his name didn't come up at all. It may be that Tilted Arc is referring to something else. And this one we can see from the blurb here that this is talking about, that's the Tilted Arc we're talking about. And if we click on that again, we can do Control or Option F, again, efficiency tip, and do a search for maybe feminism, since we know that Sarah is in there, and it didn't come up. Feminine. And that only showed up once. So we may want to change our search term after we search a few of these and do something like censorship or another search word and see what Google Scholar brings us. So that should get you started on your research. And if you have any questions, again, Google Dawn Salve Library and send me an email.